So
Yeah, I started doing like Mott Street, which is like a 3 or 4 minute climb, and that's kind of just out going towards Essex on the way out of London. Um, and that was kind of what I was good at around that sort of duration. Urban hill climb was about just under 2 minutes, quite short. So it's very much a bit more power. But yeah, it definitely helps when you know the hill, you kind of know how to pace it. But it is so different in a hill climb race. The more I've done them, the more I've known, like, actually, I can go harder. Having a power meter on a hill climb bike is probably more important than any other racing, because I would start too hard thinking, if it's only even a minute and a half hill, you can still go too hard. Like 30 seconds is kind of really like where you can just literally just get it all out, but you still need to
yeah,
hold it in, even if it's short. And like the longer the climb, the more you obviously need to hold it back and get close to kind of like your
yeah,
FTP. And there's different bits of terrain. I'm now in Elevate, and the chat is mad. Like, they are so specific. They're like, oh, this part is 8%, so I'm going to get to 120% of my FTP, and then this bit gets really steep, so I'm going to go up to 100. It's mad, 150%. They are so specific of what they're going to do on each little bit of the hill, and it's amazing. Like, and they're like, oh, the wind is doing this today, or like the road surface is like this, or there's leaves, so you got to sit down. Like, even just like the weight on my bike, and like I used to get loads of wheel spin, and it's like, oh, you need to kind of sit back on your wheel, like further back to stop that and smoother. Like, I used to be like super choppy getting out the saddle. It's like, just go a bit smoother. It might not mean you kind of get that power out quite as much, but you're not going to fall back half a wheel, so it's gonna save you time. Um, and it is so different. The more you do hill climbs, kind of the more you learn what you can put out, but also you learn what pain is more and more. And I use a lot of positive affirmations. I was doing Leaf Hill, and I hate flat bits of hill. Absolutely, like, I shouldn't even say that. I struggle with like even saying that word. I'm like, no, no, no. I just struggle a bit more. And a lot of riders are like that, because they're like, a hill, it should be steep, it should be hard. But the flat bit in the middle, I was having to go, you're strong, Maddie. Like, just repeating, you're strong, you're a strong woman. And like, even the word woman, I was like, yes, I'm a woman. And that empowered me, and was like, when I felt horrible, like, it is temporary, but just repeating you're strong, rather than going, oh, you're rubbish. Because when you do that, you do actually, I feel like you actually genuinely lose strength in your body.
yeah,
Like, so just to tell yourself you're strong, I think you then do actually kind of ride to your ability and ride to what you can do a bit better. Um,
yeah,
yeah, because a lot of it is a mental game.
yeah.
Yeah, you against that hill. Even, I weirdly love steep hills, which other people might be thinking the opposite, going, oh, and that might be when they need to go, come on, you're strong, you can do this.
So you prefer the short, punchy climbs rather than the long, steady climbs?
Any
Would you say that's
anything up
your
to 5 minutes generally. I've got
yeah,
quite a good 5 minute power. Uh, so if I'm like reasonably fit, if I'm not that fit or whatever at the moment, because I've just come back from a cold, I don't want to do much more than
mm,
2 minutes. But if I'm like
mm,
decent fitness at kind of round my peak, then 5 minutes is like what I'm
yeah,
quite really
yeah,
happy
it's
with.
good. Yeah. And what advice would you give people that want to improve on their climbing? I know a lot of people, that's an area a lot of people, amateur cyclists especially, probably do struggle with a lot, especially now riding on indoor trainers. Obviously, you can have the Swift advantage, but most of the clients that I speak to do struggle with just not being dropped on their group ride on whatever climb it is. What advice would you give them in terms of improving their climbing ability, and also not just in terms of training, but while climbing as well? What tips would you advise them on?
Do them. Like, part of the reason I was good at hills is because I grew up doing them, and actually I do less hills this year, and I'm losing it.
Mm,
Like, so mad as that is, I'm actually losing it, and it's because I used to go to the Peak District or the Lake District, and I would go for a week or some. I went once for 10 days. That was too long for me. I was broken at the end of it. But it's like, it's going to that terrain, facing your fears. Like, I went and did Fred Whitten, and I literally was hyperventilating going up Hard Knot Pass because I hadn't done enough hill training, and I still did a great ride. Like, the whole thing I did pretty speed. Well, I thought it was pretty speedy, considering I hadn't done loads of hill climbing. Um, and I just, like, the one thing was like, I wish I'd done more. So it's going to do them. And it doesn't have to be an evil hill. Like I do like hill reps up Belmont Hill, and that's like it's got a flat bit in it, so actually not like, but actually training my weakness is good. So it's just like go and do hill reps on your own at your own pace, and you will slowly build to be stronger because it's some of it's just getting your muscles used to it, getting those glutes engaged. So you can do stuff off the bike as well. You can do like bridges or kind of crabs or whatever to wake up your glutes. My glutes went to sleep because I was working a horrible full-time job, completely burning out, doing stupid hours, and that's like my glutes just went to sleep for about half the year. So I'd get on the bike and be like, oh, these other muscles are in agony because they're working because my glutes weren't, and I was struggling to get up hills as fast. So yeah, especially when you're seated going up a hill, and if you want to keep getting up them faster, like you need strong glutes, you need a strong core. So you can do that stuff off the bike. Getting to the gym will help, but then also just going out and doing them and pacing well. If you find someone in a group ride that is a similar pace to you going up a hill, like you can just sit on their wheel. Because that's mentally also, even if they're slightly faster or you think they're slightly faster, just like really try and stay on the wheel as long as you can, and then you might just do like the final minute on your own, and it's just like at least it's like they're waiting at the top slightly less time than you. Most clubs will wait at the top if it's a particularly long climb. They'll wait. Yes, I struggle on punchy hills because I'm not actually a puncher. I'm not a punchy person, and when I go out with the fast guys, I'm getting dropped on like some of the punch, like a minute hill. I'm just having to be like, it's temporary, just go. And I'm like literally pretty much sprinting up the hill, like my sprint. So yeah, I'm still getting dropped, believe it or not. Yeah, so I know what it feels like. Yeah, and I've had to have people wait for me at the top of it, and then they start going before you've had a break. You're like, wait a minute, I'm hungry. Thank you very much. I've just been gassed, so I haven't been thinking about food, and now I'm hungry, and you're all leaving me. Damn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still getting that. But yeah, it's good to push yourself. Like I don't mind getting dropped because I'm like actually that means I'm working to my limit. Um, yeah, but then other weeks I'll just go for a chill ride, go with a group 2 or something, and or group 3 even. Like if I want a really chill ride, and just nice to be out, and then you're still getting that exposure to hills as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very good point. I would say, if you look at, you were mentioning about your job, predominantly most people who ride a bike for fun and not professionally, their job is predominantly sedentary, isn't it? So
yeah,
their glutes are going to be asleep all
yeah,
day. We're sat on them now. So
yeah.
that becomes really a valid point that you just mentioned,
Mm.
that a lot of strength work is something I really am passionate about, scheduling and implementing weight training, working on those muscles to make sure they're engaged, because that's going to be, and your core stability just to keep you nice and stable on the bike to support you as well. Do you do a lot of weight training, land-based training throughout the winter months, and you
I
found
should.
for yourself?
I want to up it. I didn't do much last year. Yeah, I'm not very good around the winter months. I get a lot of colds, and I had long COVID, and so I would have done more, but I was kind of
Mm,
recovering a lot from that. Um, but yeah, I was still trying to use my kettlebell a little bit. Just having that at home is quite nice when you're like, oh, at least it's not even a super heavy one, but I'm like, at least I'll just keep a little bit going. But yeah, I'm
mm,
actually like trying to up that this year because it's also good for preventing injury. But it does, like,
yeah,
I do find when I get back on the bike, everything just does feel easier. You just have a bit more functional strength, and yeah, I just find otherwise I am like my energy gets zapped if I don't have that sort of strength in my muscles. I actually find my energy just gets zapped quicker. It's like you need base fitness, but you also need like I think a decent base strength to like carry
so
yourself.
you got bigger strength
Mm,
endurance, basically, I suppose, a cardiovascular endurance. You've got good strength endurance.
yeah,
Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
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 kind of need a bit of both.
yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely need to get into
That's
that
really good.
this winter a bit more.